Oh, this is one of the most wonderful times of the year. Folks, college sports is in full swing. And for Sam Houston, it got off to a great start, and there's some more sports coming your way right this week. And you know where to find it, right here on the Sam Houston Sports Talk YouTube channel, where me, Colin Neal, and Luke Scott, to the other, I guess the way people will be looking at it is to their right, but either way, this is where you can get all your Bearcat talk right here. So be sure you subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. We're almost there, folks. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell button, and also like this video and share it as well. You can also share these videos if you got some Bearcat friends that keep up with the sports or want to get into it, but they don't know how to. Just share them this video and tell them as well to subscribe to the Sam Houston Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Colin, all I see is that subscriber number going up every day. First day class, a lot of new students on campus. They're going to be thinking, man, I really hope there's somewhere I can go to listen to some Sam Houston Sports Talk. Well, it's a good thing that's what we're called, Sam Houston Sports Talk.
Literally, it's a very unoriginal name that I came up with, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
It is.
And hey, you can also follow us on all our social medias, Colin Neal and Luke Scott. You can just search them up on Twitter/X, Instagram, and also Facebook if that's your thing. Luke, we have stuff to talk about today. We're not gonna get into too much today, now because we want to save the rest, a lot of the talk, which is football, for a podcast that's coming out later on this week. So you stay tuned for that, and that's why you need those notifications. So keep an eye out for that. But today we're going to be talking about soccer, their tremendous start to the season. We're also going to discuss volleyball beginning their season on August 30th this Friday, as they'll be taking on Prairie View A&M and UIW Incarnate Word from San Antonio. And then they will have Battle of Pawnee Woods the next day on the 31st against Stephen F. Austin Volleyball Edition. And, of course, the beginning of the 2024 football season for the Sam Houston Bearcats. We're going to talk soccer first, volleyball, and then get to some football talk. We'll even get our thoughts on the first weekend of college football, week 0. You got to love it. It's one of the best things, underrated things in sports. And, of course, we got timestamps right in the description if you ever lose track, if you ever have to step away for whatever you got to do. But yeah, Luke, let's get started. Let's talk about Sam Houston soccer. Their first 3 games, tremendous start. They took the loss yesterday on Sunday against Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islanders. But Luke, what a tremendous start for Sonia Carvello and her squad.
Colin, in the past few years, if you would have told us, we're going to go 2-1-1 at the start, you'd absolutely take that. And Landry Townsend has opened up this year on fire, 3 goals in 4 games. Colin, the team, they might have had a hiccup there against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. The team is looking really good to start out.
What do you think it is? Is it because that finally that Carvello's has 2 full years under her belt and having 2 full off-season circuits? Do you think that's the reason why? Because she's now having players that know her system and tactics more, and she's bringing in her own players.
Yeah, of course, and some are held over from the past, but yeah, and Townsend's been here for a while. But look at Gabrielle Williams, Tiana Johnson, Dybala. There's just a few players there that have all scored goals, Colin, and have found ways to contribute at big times and throughout these games. And you see a coach, especially they get a few years under their belt in one spot. They get comfortable, they get in their routine, they know what they're doing, and that's how you get the best out of coaches. You put trust in them, and that's exactly what the athletic director, Bob Williams, has done with head coach Sonia Carvello. And the entire program itself, right? They put their trust in her hands, and so far it's working. You got to back the coach, you got to back the manager. That's what you do as fans and as a school and as former students, alumni. That's what you got to do, and she's done very well to start this year.
Well, this past Thursday against Houston Christian, it was move-in day, so a lot of Bearcat students were in the Pritchett Field stands on that night, but it didn't start out well. 2-0 right away to go down against the Houston Christian Huskies, but they scored 4 straight unanswered, thanks to goals from Landry Townsend, Gabrielle Williams, Indigo Sims, and Townsend with the brace, 2 goals as well. I mean, she's like you mentioned her earlier. I mean, she's been amazing for the Bearcats for a long time. Just unfortunately, the undefeated streak had to come to a halt against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. No cause for concern, in my opinion. You come off of 2 games, especially against Houston, where you had to come back, had to make a late push, and you also played 2 games in 48 hours. And Huntsville to Corpus Christi is not a short drive whatsoever. So and Luke, you even pointed out during the match, it looked like that they were starting to get a little tired at the end, and that's probably why Texas A&M Corpus Christi pulled ahead late in the game when they scored their second goal.
Yeah, Colin, I don't think it was just maybe at the end. I think kind of throughout they looked a little sluggish compared to 3 games before. You saw against SFA first game. I'm sure there was a lot more adrenaline. They were running up and down. Houston HCU, both. I think the energy levels were super high, and they were pressing and they were doing well. Against Corpus Christi, Colin, they just looked a little slow, and maybe travel has to do something with that. 2 games in 48 hours is tough, but not an excuse. But I think the team is going to be really happy having a few days off against UIW coming up. I think that's going to be that was the main issue there. You said you're not worried about it. I'm not too worried about it either. Full confidence in this group going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Luke said, they'll be facing UIW, the Cardinals, this Thursday. It's also Ted Lasso night, so get your mustaches. I think they're probably going to hand out a couple of mustaches at the game, so it'd be a fun night. And if you're a Bearcat student, Bearcat fan, be sure you go right out there to Pritchett Field. And students, remember, it is free to get in. So I don't know how many.
Colin,
go ahead.
Colin, are you a Ted Lasso fan?
So I will admit on this show, I've never watched it because I never got Apple TV.
Colin, I'm not gonna lie.
What?
It just
Oh
doesn't do
no.
it for me.
Oh, you've probably upsetted a lot of our audience here today.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
But
I am a fan of the British humor. I like that type of darker humor stuff, like Monty Python. It all kind of it's similar, right? No, I just don't buy that a dude from Wichita State's over there coaching soccer in the Premier League. I just can't get behind it.
Man. So that means we need to get Jose Marino like to come over and like start coaching like some
Football.
yeah, start coaching football like some probably like get him to coach Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks out of the Sun Belt. Hey, you never know. By that show's logic, it could work.
Pretty much. But the whole arc with I think his name is Sam. He's a player for them, and he's getting with the owner of the team. I just can't get behind it.
Gotcha.
It's just not for me.
Everyone's got their opinion. It is a freedom of speech is the thing in this country. So, I have no stake because I've never seen the show. So, but anyway, well, enough about the pitch. We now go onto the hardwood for volleyball. They will begin their season this Friday, August 30th, against the Prairie View A&M Panthers, and then they will take a break for a few hours and face off against UIW. And then the next day it will be Stephen F. Austin's Bearcat Invitational, I believe it's called. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But Luke, this was a team last year that wasn't good. I mean, I hate to say it, but 7-22, 1-15 in conference. It's in the Conference USA. It just shows that the competition level is just next level. Especially going from the Southland to the WAC, and then the WAC is just to Conference USA is an even bigger jump if you want me to be completely honest.
Colin, it's we could talk more about some of the key players, the transfers and whatnot, in and out from last year. But last year on 90.5 on the show, man, we were talking at volleyball at the very beginning of the year. They had such a good start. It felt like every tournament they were winning more games than they lost. It was 2-1 every single tournament, it felt like. And played some really good matches and good sets against some really tough teams. And they just fell apart at the end of the year, Colin. And that's kind of been the story the past few years. It's very up and down with this team. Um, you know, you just look at the past few years. In the Southland, they were great. In the WAC, one good year, one awful year. And last year, it was not great. It was might be their worst year they've had. Not saying that. Like, we have some really good players on this team. Hannah Baker is one of the best liberos in the nation.
Yeah,
Colin, it's just up and down with this team.
yeah, and in the off season there was concern that her and Mackenzie Morvant were gonna transfer out for their fifth years, but the volleyball made the announcement saying that nope, they're coming back. So that's a win. That's a big win in of itself. But you lost Peyton Woods to the transfer portal to the SEC at Mississippi State, so that's a big loss right there. But you bring in some transfers in Piper Boydston, a setter, and Lila Washington. So those are the only two transfers you have coming into this year. I guess the portal was not the easiest, especially in volleyball. Like, the portal is pretty crazy when it comes to volleyball, and plus there's also not that many roster spots on there, so it's kind of like managing your roster, and especially with Sam Houston has such a big incoming freshman class, they probably just didn't have enough room to bring in a lot of transfers this time around. But head coach Brenda Gray back at the reins again, 31st year. Heading into her 31st season, then assistant head coach Taylor Gray, then assistant coach Matthew Cash. So at least from a coaching staff perspective, it is consistent. And you also have former Bearcat Jaylee Beth Garcia Rosa, who's the graduate assistant. So still a lot of familiarity as well with the coaching staff. So no turnover there whatsoever. There's been Luke, you and I know that there's been a lot of speculation over the last couple of years that head coach Brenda Gray's coaching career could be coming to an end pretty soon. I'm not going to speculate and say this is her last year. It could be, who knows? But I'm not going to sit here and say that it is. She's been here for a long time, Luke. It's crazy the levels that she's coached at, especially at Sam Houston alone.
Oh, and she's been here since the '80s. That's double of my age, right? Um, over, I guess. Let's see. She came here in 1980. So this is her 40th year, Colin.
40th year, excuse me. I don't know where I'm getting 30. I was getting 31 from, but yeah, 40. Yeah.
40th year here at Sam. So not double my age, but pretty darn close. A legend. She's done really good. Multiple Coach of the Years in the Southland. One back in the 1984, the Gold Star Conference. I just don't know about this team, Colin. Every year it feels like they could do something really special. And at the start of the year, they have started really well the past few years. And it's towards the end of the year in conference play in the gauntlet when it's a lot of travel. They have really struggled when it comes to that part. I don't necessarily know if it's a player problem, a coach problem. I just don't really know. I was pretty well connected with the team a few years ago. Now, not so much, being off campus. I just couldn't tell you anything about this team, Colin. I really couldn't. We have some really good players coming back. But Haley Hyder is gone, if I'm right.
I believe
Yeah, I
she
don't
is.
know.
Yeah.
I mean, you retain your top two leaders in kills and your libero, your captain back there, but it's everywhere else. And when you watch this team, it's the errors that have really killed this team.
Okay. I'm gonna correct myself. That's where I got confused. I said 31st. I meant 41st. So okay, that makes sense. She's heading to her
Mhm.
41st season with the Bearcats. So, and apologies if I seem like I'm scrambling over the place. It's been a long few days. Lots of driving, so I'm all over the place. But that doesn't stop us from giving you the Sam Houston Sports Talk right here on the Sam Houston Sports Talk YouTube channel. So, once again, if you haven't had the chance or you haven't done it yet, be sure you subscribe today for all your Bearcat talk. Continue on with volleyball. Luke, to you said who's gonna is besides Hannah Baker, I think who we talk about a lot coming back, and along with Mackenzie Morvant, you also have another player that's coming back in a way due to the injury in Abby Clayton, the an outside hitter. Head coach Brenda Gregg talked about her absence quite a lot when I personally talked to her and interviewed her, and I was there at the exhibition game last year against Houston Christian at Johnson Coliseum, where she suffered that leg injury that knocked her out for the rest of the year. Um, I think it's going to be a pretty big deal. It seems like it's going to be a pretty big deal to have Abby Clayton back, especially since she's been that under Brenda Gray for a long time now, her entire college career. They just seem like they severely missed her last year. We talked about that a little bit last year as well on Behind the Mic on 90.5 The Cat KSHU.
Yeah. Took a red shirt. Then got injured last year. She played in between the 2 years. Um, yeah, you're getting something back there, and don't forget Alyssa Fielder, the Huntsville native. She's been really good for this program too. Um, I think the biggest problem with this team has been depth. The past few years, you just off the bench, it's very up and down and inconsistent. And you're getting an experienced player, someone who's been around the program back with Abby Clayton. She's great down the middle. She's great on the outside. It's more than that, Colin. It's the errors. It's a lot of mental mistakes. Something's got to change.
I mean, you could say now that they're going to get used to the travel. Traveling's different though with Conference USA than in years past with the Western Athletic Conference because they play 2 games in 2 days. They go. Let's say they like New Mexico State comes here in early October and they play 2 days straight, 2 games. Boom, that's it. Go. So I do actually kind of like that because it's you do get your 2 games out of the way against a conference opponent, and it's basically like football switches every year for between home and away. So and albeit they did have to get used to that last year, which I believe now that they're used to. So that the travel is going to be a lot easier to what's the word? A lot easier to take in, and they're used to it. So, but you hit the nail on the head though. A lot of errors last year, and that was basically every time we broke down a game or a series they had in the conference. It was always the errors that just killed them every time, and that was a main component as to why they went 1-15 in conference play, and missed out on the Conference USA tournament.
Yeah, and they're going to be better than that this year. Um,
Yes, I agree.
Statistically, a lot of times you don't see regression from that very much. You're going to get the opposite. I think we'll be probably a middle of the pack team. Probably, I'm sure we'll make the playoffs this year in the tournament. Um, I'm not going to say we're going to be a top four seed. I'm not saying that, but we're going to get in.
I think we can get into, especially with having that first year of Conference USA under the belt. I think that's the ceiling, and the floor is basically what happened last year. But I just can't see.
Mhm.
I just can't see that happen. I just can't see 1-15 happening again this year.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I think it'll go from 1-15 to probably a 7-win team, I would say. 7-9, right? I
Uh,
think that's kind of where I'm looking at.
well, add in 2 more games because Kennesaw State gets added,
And I saw that's right.
unless they don't play every single conference opponent like football doesn't. So
Yeah.
let me look at that schedule again because
I
now
just
they
think we'll
got
be
me.
a middle of the road team.
Middle of the road, make it in.
Yeah.
I could see that. And you never. I mean, it's college sports. You never know what is gonna happen. Let's see. Yeah, they did have an exhibition, by the way, against Houston Christian on Saturday. So but I don't know the results of that. They had a live stats link on there, but it was to a Houston Christian game from last year in November. So,
Hmm.
but I couldn't get that. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah, no, they play everybody. They play
They
everybody.
play everybody. Okay, they begin in
Hmm.
Middle Tennessee, then at UTEP. Oh, that's kind of a brutal road trip right there. You're October 4th and October 5th, Friday and Saturday. You're at UTEP, and then you got to turn around and go across the state of Texas to Ruston, Louisiana to play La Tech on the 8th and 9th, which is that Tuesday and Wednesday. That right there is going to be the toughest stretch of the road trip.
Yeah, and they never do that again. But what I'm very surprised is that they don't have the 4 straight home games like that in conference either.
That might be a rotating thing every year. Who knows?
Might be, but
That's a
that's
brutal
tough.
stretch.
But it could be worse. It could be, it could be UTEP and Kennesaw, right? So
Yeah.
UTEP and or New Mexico State and Liberty.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse, exactly. Well, I agree. I think we'll be middle of the road team too. I can't really say on a record right now, but I do expect this team to be better this upcoming season, which starts once again on Friday, August 30th, as they have double barrel action, 9:30 a.m. in the morning against Prairie View A&M, and then in the evening time on Friday against UIW. And I'll be calling the game on ESPN Plus. So if you want to hear my beautiful voice, not just on here, but on your ESPN app, that's where you'll find me on Friday. Um,
Oh, and give us a player to watch out for.
a player to watch out for, I'm gonna say Abby Clayton. I think her return. They're gonna probably immediately get her out there. That's at least right now. Obviously, hindsight's 2020. They might not let her go back out there as regularly yet to just build her up to action because she hasn't seen in like volleyball game action. At least well, she did Saturday, I believe, but before that, since that exhibition game last year, she got hurt and got sat out for the season. So I think Abby Clayton's going to be someone to watch out for. I mean, I could obviously say Hannah Baker, but that's kind of that's too easy of a name to say. So
I'll give you Piper Boydstrom,
really,
transfer from Northwestern State.
the setter. Yeah, do you see her going out there do you see her going out there first? The first 7 that go out there.
I don't think so. I don't think so because Avery Fowler's been here for a few years.
Yeah.
But I think you bring a graduate transfer that place setter in for a reason. So I just think Coach Brenna Gray might have something up her sleeve there.
And obviously, volleyball's kind of like football in a sense that it just depends on what the other team has, what their personnel is like, who they throw out on the floor, what their style of like volleyball is. I mean, I'm not really too. I'm not an expert on women's volleyball. I mean, I like watching it. It's very fun to watch. It gets very intense. So, you saw it last year. I mean, Division 1 women's volleyball has gotten really big over the years.
Oh, I was keeping up with the whole Texas run last year when they won the championship. That whole last championship game against Nebraska was awesome.
Yeah, and didn't Nebraska play inside a football stadium
They
last year?
did. They sold it out.
Yeah,
They sold it out.
that's all. I'm not gonna lie. That's got to be very intimidating. I don't know who they were playing against, but that's got to be so intimidating. If you're the opponent.
You you know it's such a dig at the football team there though, because their volleyball team is more successful in that stadium than their football team. That's how bad
Oh
that
my
is
god.
in recent memories, in recent years.
Let's see what Matt Rule can do in his second season with the Cornhuskers. Probably not much, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, Luke,
Dylan Raiola is good.
huh?
Dylan Raiola, he's the name to look out for them.
Okay.
He's their quarterback. He looks like Mahomes.
Oh yeah,
Like
isn't
physically.
yeah no
Physically,
he isn't he's trying to live like Mahomes or that.
he is.
I don't I thought that was a fake story, but then yeah, I'm not gonna get it.
Haircut, number. He does not have the Kermit voice though.
Oh man, so he's not exactly living like Mahomes, so he's gonna be bad this year. Case
Or
closed.
the arm talent.
Oh no,
He could have the arm talent. He's pretty good. But he's no Mahomes.
yeah.
Anyways,
Well, I mean, it's a good segue. Week 0 just happened this past weekend, and what a fun week 0, Luke. I mean, before we get into some Bearcat football, how about them Yellow Jackets beating the number 10 team ranked in the nation, Florida State Seminoles? They had a chip. The Seminoles had a chip on their shoulder because they felt like that they were screwed out of the CFP last year, and ranked number 10 to begin the year, and they lost on a game-winning field goal as time expired against Georgia Tech, who was unranked, a conference mate. Georgia Tech's not a team to underestimate, but whatsoever. But the internet just had Florida State winning by 30 something or whatever. But Luke, we talked about on the show. I like looking at the lines, and the fact that Florida State was only a 10-point favorite, that just told me that that the public likes Georgia Tech, and that Georgia Tech is not going to bow down to a blowout. And look what happened. College football's back, baby.
Colin, give me 1 second. We'll keep it rolling. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Colin, I used to be a huge fan of Georgia Tech back in the day. You know why?
Hang on, Luke. You're
Because they ran the triple option.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Your screen froze a little bit, my man, but keep on going. Oh, there it is. Nice.
Colin, I loved Georgia Tech. They were running the triple option, and as soon as they fired Paul Johnson, I said, hell with them. I left them. Colin, I'm back. Georgia Tech is great.
It's awesome. It's the better Georgia school, right?
That's right. That's right. The Ramblin' Wreck.
Yeah.
No, I just thought when I was younger, I thought their mascot was so cool on the NCAA games. He's really not. I don't know. Buzzy's sick though. But anyways, I think that's what you gotta call it, Buzzy. Anyways, no, I'm serious. Georgia Tech looked really good. They ran the ball well. Whoever that running back was made a statement. And Florida State, for them to lose, imagine going to Ireland and watch your team lose. That would suck.
I was honestly thinking about that too. It's like, man, this is gonna suck for so bad for one side just to watch their team lose because they had to spend all that money to go across the pond to Ireland, and then saw New Mexico get upsetted by a former Sam Houston foe, Montana State, in Albuquerque. A great game that was. And then we saw SMU nearly get embarrassed by the preseason choice for last place in the Mountain West Conference, Nevada, the Wolfpack. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen for the rest of the year, Luke. But if this weekend said anything, not just that college football is back, but this could be such an exciting season once again.
Touchdown, Tommy Malott. He looked really good. Really down the stretch, he was just clutch, Colin. You're right. A few games already, and it's the darling of the ACC, right? SMU did not look very good. They came back, they won the game. That's what matters. But that win was not great. It's already starting. It's already happening. The mayhem, the chaos. It's awesome.
Well, it all starts for Sam Houston football this Saturday against the Rice Owls of the American Athletic Conference on August 31st. Uh, Luke, it's been it's been so long. I've been trying patiently to wait for the day to come, and this is probably gonna be the longest 5 days of my life because at the time we're recording on Monday, I mean it's gonna be the longest 5 days ever. I'm just excited to get rolling with this.
I'm super excited. The depth chart has yet to be released, which is concerning, but it's also just building angst, but also just pure excitement in that respect. 5 days away, Colin. So many questions that have yet to be answered, and so many questions that we don't know what we're going to ask, but we're going to have so much fun watching it. And everyone, watching this and around the country is going to be watching Sam again on national TV throughout the year. It's here. I already know Rice is probably panicking. They're all screaming right now, knowing Sam Houston's going to come down there and win. We've had a really good success rate against Houston schools this year already, Colin. In all sports.
That's a fair analysis. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Luke. You're not wrong at all.
Soccer's taking care of us right now.
Yeah, and we're not going to talk too much about Rice today. This is going to be saved for a preview podcast that's going to happen. That's going to be released on Thursday. But one thing that I never really thought about until this past weekend when I was on vacation a little bit. How much more alumni do you think there are in Houston? Sam Houston or Rice? You could you could already see where I'm going with this.
Well, Rice is a super small school. I don't know. Probably Sam Houston, if you count all the suburbs and stuff. If you're just saying like inside Houston, probably Rice, but
Houston as the general metro.
Yeah, probably Sam.
Yeah, and we could see a lot. What the point I'm making here, Luke, is that we could see a lot of orange and white in Rice. I mean, call me optimistic. Call me a little too much optimistic. But I've seen a lot of talk of people going to show up to Rice, and I think students are going to take the drive down there. I mean, it's probably going to take a little. I think it's like an hour 15, because I went to Rice last year when baseball was playing them at their place. But I think that Sam Houston's going to have a decent amount of fans show up, and it's probably going to surprise a lot of people.
I think so too. Did you see Ife Day was named to the Reese's Senior Bowl list?
Yeah, and that says a lot because he didn't play like all of last year. He didn't play a conference game last year. He got hurt against Houston the third game of the season. But the fact that he's getting that notoriety right now, it just shows how much Ife is appreciated throughout the college football world. I think he's going to be he's going to have such a great year this year, hopefully so, along with Noah Smith.
A few other recent Bearcats to go to the Reese's Senior Bowl, right? Zion McCollum,
yep.
I believe Joe Wallace and Jaquez Etzard all went there. So we'll see.
Probably not going to get drafted. That's not. He could.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
You think he could get drafted?
I don't know about that. Yeah, I think some teams, especially if he has a really good year this year. Now contingent that relies on some quarterback play that we don't really know what's going to happen yet. Yeah. But when teams see his measurables, they know how quick he is, his athletic ability. If you're in the 7th round, why wouldn't you take a risk on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I kind of actually now that you mention it in that sense, I agree. It's just that Sam Houston's not really known for putting out NFL talent. The history is where I'm getting at. Maybe maybe not a lot of NFL teams really pay attention to Sam Houston. I mean, they kind of have to because as a scout, that's part of their job is to pay attention to as much as they can in their own region, wherever they're assigned to. But you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Hey, for years, Texas A&M wasn't really putting out NFL talent, and now they're putting out tons of NFL players out there. So I'm not saying we're A&M or anything, but we could turn into one of these mid-major programs that just find ways to put guys in contracts up there in the NFL.
I believe Ife also got another set of honors. There we go. He and Ife Day and Noah Smith also landed on the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award watch list.
Oh yeah, and both are on the preseason team, Conference USA.
Did they release that already?
I think so.
From the conference themselves.
I think so.
Did
I think
they?
so, or maybe that's what that Earl Campbell. Maybe that's what I was looking at.
They released volleyball, but not football yet. Which to add a
Scratch
note,
that.
which add the note,
Scratch that. Never mind.
which add a note to the previous segment on volleyball. If they got selected 10th in the preseason poll, which is last place. Just to add a little note to the previous segment. But yeah, we're still waiting on Conference USA honors to be rolled out. It probably won't be until it will happen this week, obviously, but probably just doing the final touches to make sure that that's what they want to roll out with, and they want to roll out with it. That's fine. I think Noah Smith will be. I think Noah Smith is going to be on there as well, or not as well, but I think Ife might be on there as well. Gosh, anyone on defense though? I think it's just Gaither.
Yeah, I would assume it's gonna be Gaither too, but you never know.
Yeah, but we're not gonna delve too much into football this time around. That's gonna have to wait until Thursday. Well, we got one last thing, Luke.
Did you see the new helmets that they brought out?
Oh yes, those are awesome. I think the cats especially I think the cats look pretty sick.
I have one problem with it.
Oh.
Actually, for both of them.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I don't know if they're big enough. Maybe it was just the picture.
Yeah,
I'd have to see it. I don't know if the actual decal is big enough. But maybe it's just because of the picture. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be just the picture. That's at least I hope it was. So, but yeah, Bearcats also write out in the. I don't know what kind of font you call that. I don't remember the font you call it.
Yeah, it's like a bubble font, but not really.
Yeah, and then cats with the old throwbacks. So pretty cool stuff going on in Sam Houston football, and that will wrap up this episode of the Sam Houston Sports Talk podcast, 12th podcast already, and right before football season has gotten started. So if you want to listen to the rest of the podcasts, they are in our channels. Feel free to go watch that. We got some good stuff over there as well. If you want to hear a specific thing from this 12th podcast, you can just dive down into the description for the timestamps. If you want to re-listen to any segment you may just want to hear again, just to make sure that what we're saying is right, or we could just be completely flat wrong and we can just get clowned on Twitter for it. Either way, it works for me. Luke, you got anything else? Because I don't have anything else.
I will say about clowning on Twitter, my most improved account might be Cats on Top right now.
Yes.
Cats on Top has been going after UTEP, which I think is very funny.
I don't think we have a weak link when it comes to burner accounts right now. I really don't.
Right now, I'm not so sure. I know Big Cat with a K has been really firing off as well too. So you got to throw some appreciation there.
Okay, let's just say something real quick. The UTEP and Sam Houston banter is the funniest. It's like part of my daily Twitter routine. I have to see what the latest news is.
and if you're not a college football fan, that just shows you how nuts people are.
Yeah.
I mean, a college football fan base, and this is Sam Houston and UTEP talking to yelling at each other, clowning each other. Not two of the most premier programs known worldwide. That just shows you how psychotic college football fans are, which I love.
What do you call that rivalry, though? If you were to put a name to it, I mean, the obvious difference is that UTEP's all the way on the opposite side of Texas than to Huntsville.
I could think of a few.
Appropriate, please.
Border war, maybe? I don't know. East Texas, West Texas? I don't know.
Oh, the border.
I don't know.
That's
think about one's on one
hilarious.
side, one's on the absolute other side.
Yeah, that's true.
That would be better. Maybe not. That'd be better for like Rio Grande, Texas Rio Grande, and like Tech, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's end it off that is a great way to end this this podcast. So, well, I'm Colin Neal. That's Luke Scott. See y'all next time. Remember, preview podcast for Sam Houston versus Rice comes out this Thursday. Follow our socials to keep up with updates. And we also got a big announcement coming to begin the podcast this Thursday. Have a great rest of your week. Be safe so that way we can all have a good time watching Sam Houston begin their football season down in H-Town. As always, eat 'em up, Cats.
Eat 'em up.